In 1993, three engineers walked into a Denny's restaurant with a crazy idea. They had no money, no powerful investors, no guarantee the company would survive even 1 year. 30 years later, that tiny company became worth more than entire countries. Bigger than Germany's economy, bigger than the United Kingdom, bigger than Japan. And at the center of it all, a leather jacket wearing immigrant named Jensen Huang. But what most people don't know is that NVIDIA came terrifyingly close to death. One failed chip away from bankruptcy, one decision away from disappearing forever. This is the story of the most important company in the AI age. Are you looking for ways to improve your understanding of economics, management, and finance that are actually backed by facts and real life examples? Welcome to Dollar Wise channel. Jensen Huang was born in Taiwan in 1963. His family wasn't wealthy. His parents believed in something many immigrant families believe in. Education was survival. When Jensen was just a child, his parents made a painful decision. They sent him and his brother to America, alone. Jensen was only 9 years old. He didn't speak much English. He barely understood the culture. And then things got worse. The school his parents sent him to wasn't actually a normal school. It was a reform boarding school for troubled teenagers. And Jensen had no idea. The school was in Kentucky. It was rough, violent, unforgiving. Jensen and his brother were tiny Asian kids surrounded by older teenagers with criminal histories. Jensen was forced to clean toilets, worked constantly, got bullied. But something happened there that would define his entire life. He learned resilience. Years later, Jensen would say, I learned very early that no task was beneath me. Eventually, Jensen's family reunited in Oregon, and for the first time, he discovered computers. This was the 1970s and 80s. Computers were not cool, they were mysterious machines used by scientists and hobbyists. But Jensen became obsessed. He studied electrical engineering at Oregon State University. There, he met his future wife, Lori Huang, in an engineering lab class. Jensen broke the ice by asking if she wanted to see his homework, leading to a weekly Sunday study routine that eventually blossomed into a relationship. During their time dating, Jensen promised her that he would become a CEO by the age of 30, a milestone he achieved when he founded NVIDIA in 1993. The couple married in 1984. Early in her career, during the 1980s, Lori worked as a microchip designer for Hewlett Packard. In 2007, she co founded the Jensen and Lori Huang Foundation, where she serves as president. Jensen later completed his master's degree at Stanford. Stanford in the 1980s was becoming ground zero for the future of technology. Silicon Valley was exploding. Apple was rising. Intel was dominant. Microsoft was beginning to reshape software. And Jensen wanted in. Jensen first worked at AMD, then at LSI Logic, a semiconductor company. That's where he learned the brutal economics of chip manufacturing. Making chips was insanely expensive. One mistake could destroy millions of dollars, and competition was merciless. But Jensen noticed something interesting happening. Video games were evolving fast. Graphics were becoming more important. Computers suddenly needed to process images faster and faster. Most companies ignored this. Jensen did not. What Jensen saw next would eventually change not just gaming, but artificial intelligence, robotics, self driving cars, and possibly the future of humanity itself. In 1993, Jensen Huang met with two engineers, Chris Malachowski and Curtis Preem. The three men believed something radical, that graphics processing would become one of the most important technologies in computing. So inside a Denny's restaurant, NVIDIA was born. Jensen was only 30 years old. And from day one, the odds were terrible. The first years of NVIDIA were chaos. The company burned through money fast. Their early chips struggled. Competitors were everywhere. Companies like 3DFX and ATI dominated graphics. NVIDIA was tiny, unknown, and close to collapse. Jensen later admitted the company had enough cash left for only a few months. One more failure, and NVIDIA was dead. The chip that saved everything. Then came the breakthrough, the RIVA 128. It wasn't perfect, but it was fast, affordable, competitive. For the first time, NVIDIA had momentum, and Jensen realized something critical. Graphics chips could do more than graphics, much more. Years later, that insight would accidentally make NVIDIA the king of artificial intelligence. But first, Jensen Huang had to survive the most brutal tech war of the 1990s. In 1999, NVIDIA launched something historic, the GeForce 256 GPU, Graphics Processing Unit, a term that would eventually become one of the most valuable technologies on Earth. Traditional CPUs process tasks one after another, but GPUs could process thousands of calculations simultaneously. At first, this mattered mainly for video games, better graphics, faster rendering, more realistic worlds. But hidden inside this innovation was the future of AI. In the early 2000s, almost nobody noticed what NVIDIA had truly built. Not Wall Street, not governments, not even most engineers. But a small group of scientists realized something shocking. NVIDIA's gaming chips were unexpectedly perfect for training artificial intelligence. And that discovery would transform NVIDIA from a gaming company into the most powerful company in the AI era. The discovery that changed everything. Researchers working on artificial intelligence faced a huge problem. AI required massive amounts of computation. Traditional CPUs were too slow. Training neural networks could take weeks, even months. Then researchers discovered something strange. NVIDIA's GPUs could process thousands of mathematical operations simultaneously, exactly what AI needed. The chips designed for video games turned out to be perfect for machine learning. But there was one problem. NVIDIA itself didn't fully realize how important this discovery was yet. And Jensen Huang was about to make the biggest gamble of his life. CUDA, the insane bet. In 2006, NVIDIA launched something most people ignored: CUDA, Compute Unified Device Architecture. CUDA allowed programmers to use GPUs for general computing tasks, not just graphics. This was revolutionary. Suddenly, GPUs could be used for scientific simulations, physics calculations, data analysis, cryptocurrency mining, artificial intelligence. But Wall Street hated the idea. NVIDIA spent enormous amounts of money building CUDA. Years passed with little profit. Investors questioned Jensen constantly. Why spend billions on technology nobody understood or wanted? Why risk the company again? Jensen felt that one day everybody would understand CUDA and would want it. Jensen Huang had a reputation: intense, demanding, obsessive. Employees described him as terrifyingly detail oriented. He worked relentlessly. He answered emails deep into the night. He memorized technical details most CEOs would never understand. But underneath the intensity was fear. Jensen knew NVIDIA could still die. The semiconductor industry destroys companies constantly. One bad product cycle, one missed trend, and you disappear forever. The AI winter. In the late 2000s, AI still looked disappointing. Experts had overpromised for decades. Investors lost interest. This period became known as the AI winter. Most companies backed away, but NVIDIA kept researching and building. quietly, patiently, Jensen Huang kept improving GPUs. He believed someday the world would need enormous computing power, even if nobody else believed it yet. This was Jensen's genius in predicting what nobody could see. He kept developing and building for the future of artificial intelligence, though it was draining companies' profitability. Jensen Huang had a philosophy and a winner's mentality, which is seen from this 2003 video.
I don't need to change the world overnight. I'm going to change the world over the next 50 years. I don't need to build a killer product overnight. I just need to build a winning product. And the goal of winning is so that you can play again. It's just like pinball. Okay? If you could just play well enough to get another game, you could be there for a long time. Most companies just need to realize that in fact this is a long road and that you can't build that perfect product. So once you do that, then you keep the project's scope confined. You keep the project now simple. You have a long-term vision, but your product definition is rather simple. You execute flawlessly on that because your people now can execute on flawlessly on a simple plan, and you come back and do it again.
The AlexNet moment, breakthrough. Then, in 2012, a breakthrough inside a university lab changed the course of human history. In 2012, researchers created an AI model called AlexNet at University of Toronto. AlexNet crushed previous AI systems in image recognition. The other systems were not even close to AlexNet. The improvement shocked the scientific community, and AlexNet had been trained using NVIDIA GPUs. Suddenly, everything changed. Researchers everywhere wanted GPUs. Universities wanted GPUs. Tech companies wanted GPUs. NVIDIA wasn't just a gaming company anymore. It had become the engine of the AI revolution. The deep learning explosion. Over the next decade, artificial intelligence exploded. Companies realized AI could transform search engines, advertising, medicine, military systems, autonomous vehicles, robotics, finance, software itself. But there was one massive bottleneck: computing power. And almost all roads led back to NVIDIA. NVIDIA becomes the pickaxe seller. During the gold rush, the people who consistently made money weren't always the gold miners. They were the people selling the pickaxes. NVIDIA has become the pickaxe seller of the AI gold rush. Every major AI company needed NVIDIA chips. OpenAI needed them. Microsoft needed them. Google needed them. Meta needed them. And demand became insane. But NVIDIA's most powerful weapon wasn't actually the chip itself. It was something competitors still struggle to copy even today: the real moat. Many companies tried competing with NVIDIA: AMD, Intel, startups backed by billions. But they faced a hidden problem: CUDA. Over years, NVIDIA built an enormous software ecosystem around its chips, which was very hard to replicate. Researchers across the world learned NVIDIA's tools. Entire AI systems were built around CUDA. Switching away became extremely difficult. NVIDIA wasn't just selling chips anymore. It had become infrastructure. The ChatGPT explosion. Then came the moment that changed everything: ChatGPT. When OpenAI released ChatGPT to the public, the world suddenly understood AI. Governments panicked. Investors rushed in. Tech companies declared an AI arms race. And behind nearly every advanced AI model were NVIDIA GPUs. AI models required unimaginable computing power. Tens of thousands of GPUs, entire data centers, billions of dollars in hardware. NVIDIA's revenue exploded. Its profits exploded. Its stock price went vertical. ChatGPT was launched in November 2022, and NVIDIA's share valuation crossed $1 trillion in June 2023. NVIDIA valuation milestones since then. $2 trillion, February 2024. $3 trillion, June 2024. $4 trillion, July 2025. $5 trillion, October 2025. The share price and overall valuation graph for NVIDIA has followed an exponential upward sloping curve, and in May 2026 it reached a peak, temporary, of $5.5 trillion. Jensen Huang has gone from an immigrant child to the leader of the most important company in the AI age. But the craziest part of the story, this is just the start of the AI revolution. And suddenly, the entire world began asking one terrifying question. What happens when one company controls the future of AI? By the 2020s, Jensen Huang became one of the most recognizable CEOs on earth. Not because he acted like a traditional executive. The leather jacket became iconic. Developers treated NVIDIA conferences like concerts. Investors watched every word Jensen spoke. And unlike many CEOs, Jensen deeply understood the technology itself. He could explain chips, architecture, AI models, and data centers in extraordinary detail. That made people trust him. But it also made NVIDIA even more dangerous. Because while the world celebrated NVIDIA's rise, very few people noticed the risk quietly forming underneath it all. The world runs on NVIDIA. AI requires one thing above everything else: computing power, or as they say, compute. Training advanced AI systems consumes staggering amounts of power and hardware. And NVIDIA controls most of the world's AI compute infrastructure. Its chips have become so valuable that companies wait months just to receive shipments. Some AI companies reportedly spent billions of dollars buying NVIDIA GPUs. Entire fortunes depend on access to Jensen Huang's hardware. But NVIDIA's rise wasn't just about business anymore. It became geopolitical. Modern AI chips are now considered strategic assets, similar to oil or nuclear technology. Governments realized whoever controls advanced AI infrastructure could shape the future of economics, warfare, intelligence, and global power. And at the center of this storm sits NVIDIA. Imagine the pressure Jensen Huang carries. Every product launch could move trillions of dollars. Entire industries now depend on NVIDIA's roadmap. If NVIDIA slows down, the AI industry slows down. Yet Jensen still works with the intensity of a startup founder. The culture of paranoia. Jensen built NVIDIA around one core philosophy: paranoia survives. Inside NVIDIA, speed has become everything. Employees describe brutal standards, long hours, relentless expectations, constant pressure. But Jensen believes comfort kills innovation. In technology, the moment you think you've won, you begin losing. And now, a new threat is emerging, one that can eventually challenge NVIDIA itself. As NVIDIA grew stronger, competitors became desperate. AMD accelerated its efforts to make chips for AI. Intel attempted to catch up. Even tech giants like Google and Amazon started building their own AI chips. Why? Because relying on NVIDIA has become dangerously expensive. NVIDIA's most advanced GPUs sell for tens of thousands of dollars each. Some systems cost millions. Yet, companies keep buying because the alternative is falling behind in the AI race. On January 27, 2025, companies in this space suffered what is called the DeepSeek shock, with a historic Wall Street correction. DeepSeek, a startup linked to the Chinese quant hedge fund Highflyer, released its R1 reasoning model, a generative AI that matched or outperformed flagship US models like OpenAI's O1. The core shockwave came from the economics. DeepSeek stated its initial V3 large language model was trained for less than $6 million. Due to this, NVIDIA stock plunged 17%, wiping out roughly $600 billion in market capitalization from NVIDIA in a single day. and vaporized $1 trillion across the broader tech and energy sectors. So, the concerns about valuation of NVIDIA stock are real. However, then came the unimaginable. NVIDIA, $5.5 trillion. NVIDIA has become one of the most valuable companies in human history. Its valuation has surpassed the GDPs of many countries, bigger than Germany, bigger than the United Kingdom, bigger than Japan. A company that started in a Denny's restaurant became more financially valuable than nations built over centuries. And perhaps the most unbelievable part is who built it. A child immigrant who arrived in America scared, confused, and unable to speak fluent English. A boy who was forced to clean toilets at a reform boarding school. A young engineer who almost watched his company collapse. Jensen Huang didn't inherit an empire, he built one. Before we proceed further, if you have liked this video, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who may like this video. But NVIDIA's story is no longer just about business. It's about the future of civilization itself. Because the same chips powering AI chatbots today may eventually power autonomous robots, scientific discoveries, medical breakthroughs, military systems, artificial general intelligence. NVIDIA is no longer merely selling graphics cards. It is helping build the infrastructure of the future. And that raises a deeper question. If artificial intelligence becomes the most powerful technology humanity has ever created, then what happens to the company supplying its brain? 30 years ago, 3 engineers sat inside a Denny's restaurant with an impossible dream. Today, their company powers the AI revolution. Tomorrow, it may shape the destiny of humanity itself. And somewhere inside NVIDIA headquarters, Jensen Huang is probably still working. Do you think NVIDIA can hold its lead for the next decade? Or will someone finally break CUDA's lock-in? Tell us below.